Hey, all you experts out there, this is the Monetize Your Expertise podcast, where we show you how to use your skills to pay the bills. Have you ever wanted to create a business that positions you as the industry leader and go-to expert? Join me every week to hear from amazing leaders and entrepreneurs who have successfully refined their skills in order to become experts and create extremely profitable knowledge businesses. To find all of the links and tools mentioned in this episode, just go to myepodcast.com. I'm your host, Grant Weherley, the online course guy, helping you every week to monetize your expertise. Hey guys, welcome to this episode. Today we're talking about tools for experts. Now, this is a topic that I'm really excited to share with you. I'm really passionate about it because if you don't have the right tools in your business and even in the way you just manage your life and your work, well, then everything becomes much more difficult or maybe even a cause of failure. For example, when I first built a website way back when, the very first website that I built, I didn't know what kinds of tools to use. I didn't know really how websites worked. And so what I did was like something WordPress with a theme or something. And so took me probably several hours just to figure out what the heck WordPress was, and then install some crappy theme, and then try and figure out how to edit that theme. And then basically it took like months and months and months and months to get a website, which at the end of the day, it looked really, really bad, actually, just to be totally honest. After spending, I think it was literally kind of working on it alongside other things. I spent about 6 months working on it and having other people help me with it and tweaking things. And it still looked like some 90s retro, really bright blue piece of crap that was just terrible. And what's funny is that probably about a year later, I realized, wow, there's all of these tools out there that lets you build something that's way better in literally about 5 minutes. So that's how important tools can be. It can literally save you months and months and months of time. And not only that, but it can be the difference between success and failure in your business. Literally. And I really mean that literally. Because if you think about it, really having a profitable business comes down to one thing, and that is generating more revenue than what your costs are, including paying yourself. So if you don't have the right tools, and for example, you're having visitors come to your website and they're buying something, and it costs you some amount of money to generate the traffic and, through ads or something to get people to your website, and then from there, a certain percentage buy stuff. Well, if you have the wrong tools, that'll impede their ability to buy stuff. And maybe you're missing out on all these sales. And that can be the difference between having a profitable margin in your business and having a negative margin where you're losing money and your business will fail. So that's why tools are so important. So today, we're going to be talking about the top tools experts are using today in their business to do all kinds of really cool stuff, save tons of time, come up with really professional looking products and platforms for courses, for all kinds of stuff. And so we're going to be going through the top tools that you need to do all of this and more. First off, let's talk about page builders. Let's talk about easy ways to create really nice looking pages and websites, because this is something that, it's, again, because of the story I just told you, really resonates with me and hits close to home. And it's one of the first tools that I found that changed the way I looked at business. It was the first main tool in my business that I started to use, which really saved me tons of time and could have saved me, like I said, up to 6 months before if I had found it earlier. And so that's using a page builder. Now, the first tool that I ever found that does this, which, it's actually pretty popular, but it took me a long time to find it, is called Lead Pages. Now, this is a really awesome platform that allows you to pretty much instantaneously create really, really beautiful pages. Typically, it's based around, lead pages, so opt-in pages that capture leads. That's their core competency, and they do a really great job of that. They have these really beautifully designed, professional-looking templates that you just pick from, plug and play. Literally takes less than 5 minutes to set these up, and it's just the easiest thing in the world. And I basically felt like crying when I found that, because I was like, oh my God, this looks so much better than what I just spent 6 months building. And so that's the difference between having a tool and not having a tool. But that's just one of several tools which actually accomplish that same end. Because if you're looking to build an opt-in page to grow your email list and grow your brand really, really quickly, Lead Pages is a great example of that. If you're looking for something more robust, if you're looking at building many, many pages that make up an entire website, if you're looking at building a membership platform or protecting some content that you're going to sell as a course, then there's two other options which they have the page builder builders, but they're not quite as good as Lead Pages. They're not quite as fast, but they have more tools and more options, which let you do more things. Like, for example, again, have a membership. Those two tools are called Optimize and ClickFunnels. Now, all these three tools, I've used all of them. And the ones that I have the most experience with are Lead Pages and Optimize. Now, Optimize and ClickFunnels both allow you to easily create pages. And they also allow you to, for example, like I said, protect content in terms of a course or a membership, set up sales funnels, do all kinds of other things that Lead Pages doesn't really focus on. And the pricing structure for each of these is different. So just a quick recap of those tools. Lead Pages, Optimize, ClickFunnels, they help you build websites and web pages very, very quickly. Lead Pages is it's like $37 to $67 a month. Optimize is $100 one off. ClickFunnels, I believe, is $67 a month. And ClickFunnels is something I'm still testing, so can't give you too many details about that one. But I will say I actually like it the best in terms of a one-off comprehensive option for how, basically, if you're an online course provider, how to set up awesome websites, sales funnels, and membership sites and all kinds of good stuff, all in one tool that works really, really well. So those are your three options there. Now, any expert in any industry is going to also need some additional tools. Like, for example, if you're going to have videos, for example, when I was dating my last girlfriend, it was funny because I was encouraging her to practice being on camera, because I was telling her, nowadays, if you're having any kind of online brand, it's really important, especially if it's a personal brand, you have to end up using video and video editing and recording software. And it doesn't have to be very complicated, but it's a quintessential aspect of any kind of marketing plan for most people and most personal brands. So the easiest tools you can use to record content. Now, this is focused on recording your screen. So if you're doing a screencast, recorded your screen where you're walking through some kind of application of something, or like, for example, if you're recording your screen to demonstrate, here's how you program an app. Well, there's tools that you can use to do that. And the top three, which I'll recommend to you, would be Camtasia for Windows, ScreenFlow for Mac, and you can even use QuickTime to record your screen, which you can edit in iMovie. So that's like the really cheap option if you have a Mac. So Camtasia and ScreenFlow are tools that allow you to record your screen and also edit, whereas QuickTime just records your screen. And it's actually a function of QuickTime that most people don't realize it has. You actually just have to go up to QuickTime, File, New Screen Recording, and you can actually record your screen, and it's a free or really cheap application. And then iMovie is native on a lot of Macs, or it's like $15, really, really cheap, and allows you to easily edit that. So using those two tools alone, you can create really high quality screencasts and even courses, because again, remember, many courses are based on recording slides that you speak over. And so just using these simple tools, boom, you've got this video content. And then, using what we just talked about, you're able to build this site and build this protected content. So between the tools we've already talked about, you're able to record the video and set it up as a course or a membership. And then boom, there you go. That's your product. Now, there's one final tool that you'll need, and that's the tool that allows you to host your videos, whether it's a marketing video, like on your homepage promoting your content, whether it's part of your sales funnel, whether it's a free content series, say a 3-part video series that you're sending out to your subscribers, or even the videos in your online course. Now, there's a couple tools you can use to host videos. I mean, you can even use YouTube if it's set to private so people can't find it, because people would get mad if they're paying for content that is actually open to the public, obviously. So you can even use YouTube, but you can also use Vimeo. And my personal favorite is Wistia. So that's Wistia.com. It's just a really, sleek and really effective. And I just really like it. I've tested all of them. And maybe it's kind of an arbitrary preference, but I like it. And it's also good for other purposes as well, like marketing. Just because it's kind of flashy and it has a couple extra features, like it allows you to capture emails directly through the video, which is cool. So that's my personal preference. And it's also pretty cheap. So that's the combination of tools that you need to record and build a course. The page builder, video recording software / editing software, because it's kind of all in one, and then video hosting. And that's pretty much the main thing that you need. But let's talk about even more comprehensive list of tools, because that's your core set of tools that you need to build the course. But what if you want to build your brand or manage multiple projects? I'm just going to go through a list of tools that I've tested and really feel strongly about in my own business that have just been game-changing tools. So first off, if you're trying to grow your brand, especially through social media, getting on Facebook all the time and posting all kinds of random little inspirational quotes and stuff and linking to your blog and blah, 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 it's actually a total headache after a while. And it's a huge time waster. It's really easy to get distracted if you're even logging into Facebook to post something for your business. You need a social media scheduler. That's it. That's the period on the end of that sentence. You need a social media scheduler. Two examples of this are Buffer and Hootsuite. So that's Hoote suite, all one word. And so both of these allow you to schedule out posts across Twitter and Facebook and a couple other platforms, and lets you do it all at once. So you don't even have to log into your social media accounts. You can just log into Buffer or Hootsuite and schedule everything out, to the end of time for an entire year if you want in like one day. And so not only does it save tons of time because you're batching those tasks into one thing, but it also, you just don't even have to get on social media to be very, very present on social media. So that's really, really effective. And the one other tool which I'll kind of throw into that little bucket of social media scheduling is called Schedugram. So that's like schedule, but leave off the LE and then .gram. And so that's how you can schedule Instagram posts. It's a little bit harder to use Instagram for your business, but if you want to, use that tool because Buffer and Hootsuite do not do Instagram because of some specific tech issues. But between those tools or three tools, or however you want to combine those, you're able to now promote your brand and in a very effective and efficient way without getting distracted. And it's putting your name out there, putting your brand out there, putting your expertise out there. Quintessential aspect of any brand that's trying to get traffic and trying to get exposure. And now that we're talking about efficiency tools, let's launch into how you can manage multiple projects and also automate things in your business. This is something that I love this because personally, I always hate having to spend large amounts of time on things that are trivial or redundant. Just the really small things that you don't want to be spending your time on, but are somewhat necessary. And so I've come up with some really effective ways to automate that, to make it as frictionless as possible, and to even make it very easy to hand off to other people. Because the problem we run into a lot in our business is that we have so many things to do, so many hats to wear, but we can hand some of those off if we know how. And so I have some tools that I use which are really effective for facilitating this process. So first off, I want to talk about Asana. So that's ASANA. Okay, so people always, in my experience, talk about Trello, Trello, as a task in project management software. Personally, I always hated Trello. I never, ever liked it. And you might like it. It might work for you. Personally, I always thought it was really disorganized and just not intuitive, and it has colors and stuff. That's cool, but it's not very effective for actually using it productively. So I am a huge advocate and evangelist for Asana because it's much more organized. It's very strategic, and it allows you to coordinate with your team and outsource tasks very, 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 very easily. So check that out. Again, Asana, ASANA. Very, very effective, and it's free. So that's what you should be using to manage your projects. And I have 10 projects that go on at once, and I use this very, very effectively to not even get overwhelmed managing literally 10 projects at once. And I can't tell you how much faster and more effective I am because of this tool. Now, I use this in conjunction with other tools as well. For example, my favorite ones here are Evernote and Google Docs. Now, I'm pretty sure you've probably heard of both of these. But the way that's most effective to use them, if you're trying to create some kind of document that, for example, documents a process in your business. So you're trying to hire somebody or give your, an assistant or actually, a certain kind of organization, a task that you're outsourcing, which we'll talk about in a second, a specific task, but it requires instructions. Well, you can easily create a document that documents that process with some images and stuff. And Google Docs is free. It's really easy to share, integrates with everything. So I like to use Asana to manage my projects and Google Docs to manage the actual processes in my business. And it's actually be better to have a video showing how this works, but I can create a task, say do this, and then send it off to my person on my team, link to a process in a Google Doc, and it takes all of less than 30 seconds to get that off my plate, and he or she will know exactly what to do. And the way I use Evernote is a sort of mass archive of any kind of reference material that I have. So if you're not familiar with Evernote, it's, how do I describe it actually? It's a massive database of note-taking notes, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. It allows you to save forever any kind of notes that are random, or you can also do checklists and pictures, and it can like scan pictures of writing and search it. It does all kinds of really cool stuff. Basically, it's a great way to capture ideas and take notes and keep it all in a very, very organized way. Now, sometimes people ask me, what's the difference between Google Docs and Evernote? And there's actually a pretty big difference. The reason why people still use Evernote, even though there's Google Docs, is because Google Docs is just a series of documents that you can make for free. And you can make spreadsheets, you can make actual, essentially Word documents, but it's a Google document. You can make these different documents, for free in these folders. But in terms of organization, it is not super organized. So Evernote's really, really good at having insane amounts of information from a bazillion different topics. I take notes and record information on everything from what I eat to what's going on in all kinds of different elements of my business, to taking notes on books that I read. And it's all in one place, but very, very organized, very searchable. And it's just way more organized than you could ever do with Google Docs. So that's kind of the difference there. So anyways, just a quick recap of this section. So if you can use something like Asana, or, you can use Trello, but I'm just not a fan. Basecamp, for example. There's actually a lot of project management software. So you have project management software, which allows you to have many projects going on at once without getting overwhelmed and without having to keep track of a bazillion different things going on, emailing back and forth, all these different people. Project management software is essential if you're doing many things, and if you're an entrepreneur that's self-employed and you've got a team, and you need this stuff. So Asana to manage the actual projects, Evernote to sort of dump notes and reference material, and it also integrates as well with Asana. And then Google Docs is great for having documents which document processes. So any kind of SOPs or anything that you're handing off to allow people to follow some kind of process so you don't have to. So now we're talking about handing off these processes, right? Well, there's two great services / websites and businesses that are great for handing off tasks to. And those two are Fancy Hands and Fiverr. Fiverr, by the way, is spelled Fiverr.com. So Fancy Hands is how do I describe this one? This one's like a pay per task of all kinds of random tasks kind of website. So you subscribe to a certain number of tasks, and then you can easily send off like, hey, research this or do this, just shoot them off, all these different tasks. And then there's this massive organization of virtual assistants who will take care of it for you. And you don't have a dedicated person to your team, but there's always somebody there who responds usually in like less than an hour and takes care of it very, very quickly and efficiently. Now, since you don't have a dedicated person to your team, this is where it comes in handy to have Google Docs or some kind of written process to hand them, because if you're trying to tell them what to do for your business, execute on some initiative, there's a good chance they have no idea what you're talking about because they've never heard your name before. They have no idea what your business is. But if you can send them just a quick document to outline exactly what you're talking about, then they do a great job of executing on it. And it's dirt cheap if you set this up correctly. And Fiverr is more of a pay per specific task type thing. It's a way of finding really, really cheap outsourcers for quick low-end tasks. Like, for example, if you're trying to have a book cover designed for your newest ebook, this is a great way to have it done for like $5 or $10, and they'll usually revise it multiple times. You can have different kinds of marketing tasks done. You can have people give you input on how to improve a website. Yeah, this is all kinds of random stuff, even like voiceover work and animation creation, graphic design, lots of random stuff there. So anything that takes specific skills, Fiverr is a good resource for finding people with those specific skills who will do it very economically. So again, Fancy Hands for general support if you can give them a document or show them exactly what they need to do in an efficient way. And Fiverr if they require some kind of specific expertise. Because, for example, you cannot send, hey, design me a logo to Fancy Hands. Like, I don't think they would do it, and if they did, they wouldn't do a good job. Whereas you can send it to Fiverr and have somebody do a fantastic job for $5-10. Now, I had a whole list of tools actually to talk about, But I'll just talk about two more because these ones I really want to get in. And these are the most important on the remaining list. So in terms of automating your business, so we've talked about creating and hosting content and editing content, how to market your business on social media very, very effectively, how to manage tasks very effectively and organize your business. But let's talk about actually automating your business. So we talked about organizing and outsourcing, but let's talk about the automation process. So when I say automate, I mean there's something that you're doing that you can have some kind of software or program or something take care of without you ever even thinking about it, without you even necessarily knowing that it's happening. Now, this might sound unrealistic, but there are tools out there which do this, and they are fantastic. I love them so much, and so I recommend them to you. Now, there's two main ones which are most popular, and they're pretty similar, but they have slightly different uses, and they are If This Then That, which it's a programming reference, but the website itself is ifttt.com because it's an acronym for If This Then That. And the other one is Zapier, and that's zapier.com. Now, both of these are essentially like programs that you can create that combine multiple tools in really unique ways that you're able to customize however you'd like. So what I mean by that is you're able to, for example, say, when I get an email from this person, create a Google Doc with this template. Or when I get when this RSS feed is updated, so for example, if a blog that you like is, there's a new blog post there, then you can add that to a list of links in your Google Docs spreadsheet to go through to read later. So, those may not be the most productive examples in your mind, but essentially you're able to trigger these different, what they're called recipes. So you trigger these different recipes that one thing that happens causes something else to happen. And you'd be surprised when you stop and look at your business, different things that you do, usually related to organization or assigning tasks or just organizing things and doing some of the small stuff. A lot of this actually can be automated with these simple tools. Now, the only challenge here is that there's a little bit related to your creativity here. There's recipes that you can find that they have already created, and a lot of these are really handy as well. Like, for example, one I recently created the other day was an automatic archive on Evernote of every Instagram post that's posted on my account. That's cool just to have for record in case I ever want to repost stuff because my assistant's too lazy to create new posts on Instagram. And you can do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And it saves so much time. And the only barrier is that you didn't know about this tool or you haven't taken the time to look at how to use this effectively. And there's ways to combine this automation with outsourcing as well, which is the most exciting thing. Like, for example, you can create a recipe which triggers, for example, whenever certain kinds of blogs are updated and this triggers an email that goes to Fancy Hands telling them to do such and such. And then there's this like process of, content syndication or promotion or something, which you would have to monitor something, check your email, send off this email to somebody else and and you'd be basically doing what this program would do for you. And the cool thing is you don't even actually have to have any kind of programming experience. It's a really simple interface that's just like click, yes, send an email when this happens, You just click around. It's very, very simple, even aesthetic interface. And it allows you to freaking automate your business. How awesome is that? Now, if some of these tools are totally new to you, or if you haven't thought about using these kinds of tools in your business, let me just sort of summarize and add a conclusion onto all of this to explain why this is so important, why this is so cool. Because if you organize, especially these last tools, if you set them up correctly, then you have your automation in place, you have your outsourcing in place, you have your organization of your business in place, and you can even download the app versions of all of these things, and oftentimes even manage your team and your entire business from your smartphone. You can travel all over the world while just keeping tabs on things very, very easily with just some Wi-Fi. Now, I think that's really cool because I'm sort of a perpetual traveler. I'm over here in Asia, and so this is really essential to me, to my business, to keep things on track. And so you can set all of this up, never lose an idea, keep track of your team, keep everybody on task, and just never lose anything, and have things work as effectively as possible while saving you tons of time and allowing you to manage 10 times as many projects as you're currently managing with less of a headache. Whew. Okay, so that was a lot. We just talked about 15 different tools, and that wasn't actually even the full list, but this is starting to get a little bit long. So if you want to see these tools and actually get the links, make sure to go to myepodcast.com. But again, I can't harp on this enough. I can't emphasize how important this is to use these kinds of tools to save you tons of time and so many headaches. Please trust me from my experience. I wish I could go back in time and teach myself about all these tools. So again, go to myepodcast.com. and you can see a summary of all these tools as well. And I hope this was educational for you. Thanks for listening. Hey, entrepreneurs and experts, I just wanted to thank you for listening to this episode. And I hope you learned at least one new big idea that helps you evolve your skills and gets you closer to monetizing your expertise and creating that successful knowledge business. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on iTunes and Stitcher, and check out myepodcast.com for all episodes as well as the tips and tricks mentioned in this episode. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.